Didn't see the Clippers losing yesterday. I had them winning, and then Timberwolves celebrated. It's been crazy. The Nets and Celtics. Oh man, it's gonna be good.
I'm willing to take this $100 because I was lost on how the play-in bracket worked. I thought the teams that lost was pretty much out of it. I didn't realize that they had another opportunity to make the playoffs. Can you imagine? I mean, I know this is like really far-fetched, but I want to put $100 on the Cleveland Cavaliers to still win the NBA Finals. If they was to win the NBA Finals, you know how rich I would probably be, man. Jesus Christ.
I think they have a really good chance. It looks like the Hawks and Hornets is going to be really close, but that one's going to be really interesting. I got the Hornets winning tonight, but, yeah.
When you look at the season, JP, give me a report card grade or what do you think about this overall season? Was this a year that you were satisfied with basketball and everything that came along with it, or was it disappointing to you?
To me, it was an exciting season. Probably both. Disappointing because of how the Lakers turned out, because everyone thought at the beginning the Lakers is going to probably go further in the playoffs or probably win it all. I hadn't win it all based on the roster they had. So it was kind of disappointing to see that they were absolutely worse. But it was good just to see a lot of young players that stepping up to the plate. Especially with the Celtics having that extreme run that they had since December, using their identity for defense, and Jason Tatum becoming a really good playmaker. Seeing other teams like the Hornets, just stepping up to the plate. LaMelo, Miles Bridges, they got a really good young core. To Phoenix, who just kept being consistent all season, the way they play. Jokic and Embiid going at it, in the center position for the MVP. So I thought it was a good and disappointing season, but, I'm always intrigued because everything happens for a reason. Injuries is part of the game and everything, but it was a good season for me. I enjoyed it.
I agree, bro. I think the 75th season of the NBA was a real interesting one, man. Like you talked about all the storylines that happened, the whole Ben Simmons thing, the whole James Harden thing, the Lakers disappointment, Kawhi being out for the year. We see some other guys step up. Giannis showing that, the success that Milwaukee had was not overnight. Then we see people like LaMelo Ball, who, was projected to be someone that was going to be good, but we didn't know if he was going to be better than his brother. He took a franchise pretty much under his shoulder, and they now in the playoffs. So, we got that part that happened. And then when you just look at the surface of maybe the media outlets and, up and coming platforms like ourselves, we got the Twitter spaces. So that kind of allowed, more personalities to, get involved with NBA conversations this year. So I've seen a lot more, amateur types of opinions, not just strictly professional ESPN types of opinions on the NBA. Is giving us an opportunity to let our voices be heard. I think that had a big impact this season. So, I'm really excited about the 75th season of the NBA. Like you said, LeBron and the Lakers not being in it, man, is definitely leave a sour taste in my mouth. But the basketball that we've gotten overall, you can't complain, bro. People have been showing up, you know what I mean? The Kyrie story, and now look where Brooklyn is. So it's just been interesting, bro, and the story never ends.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the Grizzlies, just unbelievable, just a huge step. John Morant, we'll get to that team later on, but, man, they've been so exciting to watch this season.
I want to get to it right now, JP, because it's interesting. I want to look at – I don't really want to get into what's going to happen tonight because, games is watching right now. So we're going to get back to the games. I'm not going to hold you too long. But I want to kind of project about what we already know. And when you look at Memphis and Minnesota locking in for the first round, Pat Beverly versus John Morant, how do you think that series is going to play out? Because honestly, bro, I'm still not sold on Memphis, and I got Minnesota beating them in this series.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I'm listening to Inside the NBA last night. Shaq and Chuck was like, Minnesota probably going to pull up against Memphis. Chuck brought up an interesting point. The thing about Memphis, they had a really great regular season, but you're facing like different teams. Right. each game that you face. This one, you're facing a team, 7 times and everything. So the pressure is really on because everybody, it's like the first time we expect Memphis to win a series than we did the previous, couple years, especially last year when, they went up against Utah. So we're expecting to win this series. This one's going to be really interesting. The defense really has to step up on Minnesota. Patrick Beverley is going to have the assignment on John Moran. John Moran loves to get into the paint. He led the NBA in paint scoring. So you got, Pat Bell's got a hard assignment, but, he's going to use his tricks, use his use everything they can to just piss off John Moran. You got Vanderbilt and Karl Anthony Towns got to step up inside the paint because, like I said, John loves to go inside the paint. You don't have to worry just about John. You have to worry about, Desmond Bain going off. You have to worry about Dylan Brooks going off. But Memphis is young and hungry, and the pressure and the lights is on them. I have the Grizzlies winning in 5 or 6 games just because I think they're a better team. Taylor Jenkins did an amazing job with this team this year, the way that he just lets them play basketball. The 3rd in offense, the 5th in defense, just because of the huge addition of Steven Adams too as well, helping them get better along the screens and going through the screens. I like this team. They're really hungry. Don't know how far they're going to make it. People got them coming out the West, which I'm kind of not really sold on them yet. We just have to see what the first round is going to do. But, they got a hard team in the hands in Minnesota. Hopefully we don't get the Karl Anthony Towns that we saw last night. Hopefully he is able to post up more because I'm tired of seeing him bringing up the ball and try to shoot and everything. I hope they post him up more. Anthony Edwards is just playing phenomenal. He's going to be a dog. He's going to get after it. If D'Lo stays healthy and be consistent in scoring, I think Minnesota got a good chance, but I'm still going to roll with the Grizzlies.
My thing about the Memphis Grizzlies winning a series, this leads back to what you actually brought up. When we get into the playoffs and you now playing the same team at least 4 times, the game slows up a little bit.
Yep.
Karl Anthony Towns didn't have that great night last night, but that was a 1-game situation. I don't have a concern of him playing like that throughout a whole series. Now, at the end of the day, Ja Morant, the Memphis Grizzlies is only going to go as far as Ja Morant takes them.
Yes.
And in my opinion, talent-wise, he has enough to pull this off.
Yes.
But when you are facing the team like Minnesota with a mixture of young players, veterans, everyone's hungry, Ja, to me, would have to change his mentality in this round. And I'm not sure if he's ready to do that yet. And I'm not sure that we've asked any young superstar to completely go away from what they used to or what pretty much got them there. To be successful. I don't think that Ja can go out and score 40 a night, and Memphis win. In Memphis win. I think Memphis, for Memphis to win, I'm thinking Ja Morant has to play way more of a leadership role instead of a boss role. Make sure everyone's involved, not concerned about how points unless it's given to him. So I'm not sure if he's ready for that because he's so young. Usually we see that in a lot of veteran players, a lot of players that feel like they, to pretty much reach their prime or at their prime. They start to think more mental than anything. And Ja physically, man, he's just been unbelievable this season. But it's a team sport. And I just don't think that Ja, the way he's playing, is going to get the Memphis Grizzlies over the hump in the playoffs, but it's going to be a good one. I'm not going to lie, man.
It's going to be a good series.
What do you think about Brooklyn and Boston, the Nets and the Celtics? That's really the talk right now.
I think this is going to be the best series of this round. I think Boston's a better team just because they're a more better defensive team than the Nets are. The Nets is a good offensive team. You got Kyrie and KD. You got Seth Curry. Hopefully they get some more touches than they did last night. Andre Drummond playing really well last night. But, it's going to be a struggle, especially on the defensive end because, you got to deal with, Tatum. We've seen the last time Boston faced the Nets, Jason Tatum went off for like 50-something points. So the key to the series, for Boston to win would be Jaylen Brown. Hopefully he can stay consistent in terms of scoring because they're going to find some way to, contain Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum's still going to get his points. Jaylen Brown has to be consistent, has to be that second scorer on Boston. And, the thing with Tom Lillard's injury, yes, it's effective for Boston because Tom Lillard's been playing unbelievable this season defensively. You still got Grant Williams who can still lock up. You still got Al Horford, even though with age, but he can still play defense. You got Daniel Tice, from a trade. He can play defense. So, it's never going to be a problem with Boston because it's always the next man up. Marcus Smart is going to have the assignment on Kyrie, and Marcus Smart is a dog, defensive player of the year.
Congratulations to Marcus Smart.
Yes, well deserved. So, for the Nets, someone was saying Kyrie and KD can pull this one, they could help you win 4 games. I don't know if they could do that, It just really just depends, on hopefully they can stay healthy, first of all. Second of all, Steve Nash, I'm still not sold on him as a coach, in the X's and O's and everything. I'm still not sold on him because of rotations and the different decision-making he does. I'm just still not sold on him as a coach. But this one's going to be a great series. I just think Boston, like I said, is a better team. This is probably going to go 6 games, and I'm going to go with Boston.
So is it safe to say that Kyrie and Kevin Durant is probably the better duo than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but the surrounding supporting cast for Boston is probably the advantage?
Yes.
Okay. I can definitely get with that. Now, there was a report, I think his name Bruce Brown from the Brooklyn Nets. They were asking him in the post game about, this upcoming series versus Boston. How does he feel like the Nets can win? And because Williams is out, he was basically saying, man, all we need to do is just take it inside like it's nothing. And Kevin Durant kind of snapped at him like, we don't need to give the Celtics extra bulletin board material or, giving out our game plan. Like those guys know how to play. So part of Brooklyn's strategy, it seems like possibly, is that they're going to try to bang inside the paint because they feel like Boston does not have that grit, that size, and is not going to want to play bully ball down in the post. Jaylen Brown, one of the best two-way defenders in the league. Mm-hmm. Jason Tatum, outstanding season he had. It's going to definitely be a rough one. 6 games, 7 games, most definitely. Marcus Smart, he's going to be the X factor, bro.
He would have to be the X factor. He would have to not only facilitate and play defense, he has to score the basketball too as well. Make better shots. Now they did say that Tom Lillard, there's a real possibility that Tom Lillard will hopefully be back in the first round of the playoffs, which is good news for Boston. I don't want to rush him quickly though, because you still got really good backup defenders in the paint like Al Horford and Daniel Tice and Grant Williams. They can still lock up and everything. So,
right.
And then you got Darryl White who can facilitate too as well. He's been playing pretty good, the last, quarter of the games of the season. So, it's going to be a series. Like I said, they think that Bruce Brown and then Andre Drummond can dominate in the paint, but they're going to have a struggle against Boston's defense. But Boston is still going to be the better team. I know people really pulling for Brooklyn just because of KD and Kyrie alone. You ain't going to stop Kevin Durant at the end of the day. You ain't going to stop him the way he can score the basketball and all that. Kyrie, you can kind of frustrate him. I think Marcus can frustrate him. I mean, he's still going to get his points, but I think he probably might struggle in terms of percentage maybe, but we just have to wait and see though. But, give credit where it's due. Boston, I hate that they had to get the second seed against the Nets, but they say, hey, they ain't scared of anybody. They could be a playoff nightmare for anybody in the East.
I like the fact that we get a real good series like this that means something early on in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had so much drama in the regular season. These playing games is going to be key as well. But just to know right now we got that type of matchup in the first round is big time. So I guess, Just, I got to ask you the $1 million question since you're going with Boston, and I'm going with Boston too in this series. But I do have to ask the $1 million question. If Ben Simmons was to suit up, now me personally, I don't think he's ever going to suit up in a uniform, with the Brooklyn Nets. But if he was to play in this series, does that change your perspective on how this series would go if Ben Simmons is able to play for Brooklyn?
If Ben Simmons was able to play for Brooklyn, yes, because Ben Simmons is a great defensive player. He can guard positions 1 through 5, so he can cause like matchups for like a Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, because you have to worry about him and his playmaker. Plus, Durant and Kyrie can play off the ball too as well, and Ben Simmons can come up and down the court with the ball. So it's going to be it makes things interesting if Ben Simmons is on the court. Now, I don't think he's going to play until probably next season just because of the back, though. We just don't know how healthy the back is. When you have like a back injury like that, you see it with Michael Porter Jr., in Denver. Like, you just don't know when they're going to be able to come back, because that back injury can change a lot of different things, for different players. But if he did play this series, it could be interesting, though. But I think Boston can probably still pull it out, but he would cause matchups, for Brooklyn to go against Boston.
It's going to be great, man. I cannot wait, man, to see these matchups. Let's take things to the Western Conference real quick. This is really the last thing I want to talk about. We got to get into the Lakers. We got to get into LeBron and the crew. First off, Frank Vogel was fired just the other day, finally. Thank God for that. I've been campaigning for that. What was your thoughts on Frankie V being released, and how do you see the coaching opportunity being filled in LA? Give me a name or two that you think probably would fit the bill if LeBron, AD, and Russ, whatever reason, stays there. We're going to get into Russ in a second.
Yeah, Frank Vogel being fired, I think he was just like a scapegoat, just because, he just didn't really get I understand about the rotation issues, which is understandable, but he got rid of all the defensive players, and then he has to deal with a constructive roster that was an old aging roster that don't really play a lot of defense. You don't really have a lot of young core and stuff. And then, the whole thing with Westbrook, and that situation and that chemistry, it just didn't really work though. So, right. It's just another way of saying Frank Vogel was the problem, in LA, and not really pointing towards the management of Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, Kurt Rambis, because they and LeBron constructing the roster as a GM. So they kind of just saying, they just kind of let go and have that freedom. We're not getting blamed. Frank Vogel's the problem. We'll deal with it. We'll deal with Russ later on. I like that Frank Vogel got fired because he can get another head coach opportunity somewhere else that's in a better situation. I think LA was just too much of it this year just because of that roster and all that pressure that the fans and everybody put towards the Lakers, because they're supposed to be a championship town. And the way they disappointed their season with that record was just very disappointing. A name that could fit with the Lakers, you got to get a coach that knows LeBron really well. You have to get a coach like that. There was a couple of names that have been floating around, like a Doc Rivers. I don't think Doc Rivers would be a perfect coach, even though he would have to manage the personalities. He's good at that, but I don't really trust, especially with the playoffs. Another name, Mark Jackson. You have to deal with the religious issues. I don't think they're going to get Mark Jackson. Quinn Snyder with the Jazz. He's defensive-minded, hard-nosed. I just don't think he would be a good fit, even though he was on Mike Brown's coaching as coach assistant, for a couple years. I just don't think he'd be a great coach. Mike Brown could be, the next coach maybe, because he knows LeBron really well, and that could be a really good pick. There's been possibilities of Juwan Howard getting out of Michigan to go to the Lakers, because, there's been rumors Juwan Howard could be a Laker coach because he knows LeBron really well, played with them, and was an assistant coach while LeBron was playing with the Heat. Rondo could, retire from Cleveland and can go
be an
as
assistant
coach for the Lakers if Juwan goes there. So that could be really interesting. There's, you just got to get a coach that knows LeBron really well that can help that roster. I wish Ty Lue would have got that position.
Or Jason Kidd.
Oh, Jason Kidd. Yes, exactly. You see how both of them can really coach, and you see the success right there, with Ty with the Clippers and Jason Kidd with the Mavericks. So it's so you gotta do a really good job with the next coach hire.
Well, You didn't bring up David Fizdale, who's the assistant coach or was on the current Vogel staff. He coached LeBron in Miami, and I thought he was a good coach, and things didn't work out in New York. Things just never work out for anyone in New York. He took over for Vogel at points through this season, and his win-loss record wasn't that great, being a replacement for Frank Vogel. Do you see Fizdale possibly getting a chance? Do you see Fizdale? Because I don't think the next coach that comes in is going to allow Rob Pelinka to pretty much tell him who his staff is going to be.
I just don't see Fizdale being the next coach. I mean, that would be a safe hire just because he knows LeBron and he's an assistant coach for Frank Vogel. I just think that win-loss record is just not that great. I think the whole thing with him in Miami, he was good in Miami because look who was the president or, the executive, Pat Riley. Spoelstra is a really good coach. So that culture, that heat culture was something different than you see with the Lakers. So I think it'd be a safe pick, but I just don't think he'd be a good coach for LeBron and AD and Russ. Now, there's another name that's been floating around that never really got a head coaching opportunity, but he's been an assistant, is Sam Cassell. He could be a potential option. We've seen the success that Tyronn Lue got with Cleveland and with the Clippers. He was underneath Doc Rivers as an assistant coach. So Sam Cassell, if they could interview him, could be a potential, probably be a pretty good head coach with a lot of experience, as an assistant, with Doc Rivers. It might be interesting, but I mean, that could be another name floated out. I just don't think Fizdale would be it, though.
Does LeBron stay till he retire?
LeBron would never go to another team unless, he goes back to Cleveland, if they can work out some type of deal for him to go back home and might have some power structure to bring Bronny in. I just don't see him going to another team. Someone brought up the Philadelphia 76ers with him and Embiid. I just don't think it's going to work, in my opinion. Maybe like a couple years ago, possibly, but I don't think it's going to work now because you got to change a lot right there.
Especially with Harden involved. LeBron's not going to play with James Harden. LeBron's not going to play with. What about Russ? What is Russell doing? Because Russell just took some shots at LeBron and Anthony Davis. Some may say because, the reporter had asked Russell, LeBron and AD pretty much said all year, let Russell be Russ. And Russell was like, that ain't really true. So some people felt like that was a shot at LeBron and AD. What do you think was going to happen to Russell? You think he's gone?
There's been potential, some options of Russell Westbrook going to Indiana, bringing Malcolm Brogdon and Buddy Hield, to LA, which could help a lot with LA. With him, that $47 million deal, that's going to be tough to trade him out, but you got to you got to get some pieces that can equal the value of Westbrook in the trade. So Indiana was Indiana is one of the options. The Charlotte Hornets, because of Hayward's deal and seeing what Hayward's been, with the Hornets, just up and down just because of the injuries. I just hate for the Hornets to break, the young core up and bring in someone like Russell Westbrook in to change the chemistry with the Hornets. And, the whole thing with Jordan and Westbrook and the Jordan deal, I don't think, if Jordan is smart enough to not bring Russell Westbrook in, I would not do it. Or some say the New York Knicks, but you would have to trade a lot of players from the Knicks to bring a Russell Westbrook in and kind of start over.
Right.
Yeah, so
you got Houston as well, because Houston was definitely in it and they was willing to take the contract if the Lakers were willing to pick up John Wall's contract. So Houston was definitely interested in swapping John Wall for Russell Westbrook. They traded for each other before, but Houston was interested in that move before the All-Star break. So I don't know, man. I just think that Russell just need to get off the books one way or another, man. This experiment has just been horrible. And there's so many things that happen. You can definitely partially blame injuries, this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, Russell is just not a fit for that.
Nope.
That's it. JP, I appreciate you, bro. Checking in, man. The Best of 7 Sports Talk, man. Please let everybody know where they can keep up in the loop. But it's just JP.
Yeah, you can check out my YouTube. It's just JP. We finally hit 1,500 subscribers. Hopefully we're on our way to 2,000. I've been really busy doing some other things as well. I think the next video is definitely going to be about Kawhi Leonard in the 2019 one that he had with the Raptors. I think that was probably the best individual playoff season, playoff run I have seen, in that decade. So I'm definitely doing a reaction to that. So stay tuned for that. And just catch me on Twitter Spaces on Twitter at JPFranchise57, hopping in with different people around Twitter Spaces.
Yes, sir, man. This is my guy. He knows his NBA, best reactions on social media, man. So make sure y'all follow the guy. I'm Seven Mitchell, man. You are now rocking with the best. This is the Best of 7 Sports Talk. Everybody stay safe. Enjoy the play-in. Catch you guys next week, man. We out. Peace. All right, man. Peace to my NBA family. It's your host, Seven Mitchell, with the Best of 7 Sports Talk. I just wanted to take this time out to say thank you to each and every one of you guys for so much support for the podcast. I hope you guys are really enjoying some of the outside-the-box angles we take, bringing you in these NBA storylines. Please don't forget to like and share. Most importantly, rate the podcast. You can follow us on social media. All the links will be in the description. And if you would like to contribute to the Best of 7 Sports Talk platform, we have merchandise available, as well as links for the merch, and donations will be all in the description. Once again, thank each and every one of you guys in the NBA community for supporting the show. This is Seven Mitchell with the Best of 7 Sports Talk. Let's talk some NBA action.